Welcome to Watches with Dennis, and today I'm going to do a first thoughts video on a new line of watches from Baltic called the Prismic. Currently, the Prismic line is in 4 colors. There's sort of a blue-gray, there's a green, there's a purple, and of course, there had to be a salmon. But let's go ahead and go over the specifications first, and then I'll give my reactions to the watch. The case is 36 millimeters in diameter. It's only 9.2 millimeters thick. It's a modest 44 millimeters lug to lug. The watch dial is protected by a sapphire crystal that features anti-reflective coating. The case is actually a mix of metals. It's stainless steel for the lugs, the case back, and the bezel, and then grade 5 titanium for the middle portion of the case. The case itself features matte, polished, and brushed finishing, whereas the bezel is stepped and has brushed and polished elements. There is a sapphire protected case back, so you have a display case back, which allows you to see the movement. The watch is powered by the ETA Pursue 7001. That is a hand wind movement that has 21 joules, beats at 3 hertz, and offers approximately 42 hours of power reserve. The watch pricing that I've seen from Baltic's website is in euros, and the price depends on whether you're going with the strap or the mesh bracelet. The mesh bracelet comes in at 1,050 euros, and then it's a little bit under 1,000 euros on the strap. I think it's 990 according to the website. Well, obviously the casework has a lot of different finishing that makes it quite interesting. The dials themselves also are quite eye-catching, are probably the first thing you will notice, which would explain why Baltic decided to call this line the Prismic. You'll notice that the chapter ring of the dial is brushed with applied indices, whereas as you move towards the center, the dial steps down into a guilloche pattern. The small seconds rests down at the 6 o'clock position, and there, yet again, another dial texture, this time frosted. In terms of my first thoughts, and again, first thoughts means this is not a watch review. I only review watches I've handled, so this is all remote, all judging from photos, judging from write-ups, judging from what I have been able to view. And based off of that, I think these are very interesting watches. It's impossible for me to look at these Prismic watches and not get some Chopard vibes, LUC in particular. Obviously, given that dress watch aesthetic, this is a format that I very much associate with that brand, and it's hard for me not to believe that Baltic didn't look at Chopard and say, you know what, let's take some design cues from them. That being said, I would never associate Chopard with doing some of these color choices, such as purple. And so in that regard, I think we're seeing a lot more fun being had by Baltic versus what you would expect to see out of Chopard. Not to mention, we're seeing a lot of different textures on this watch, both the dial and the case. Not to mention the case being both stainless steel and titanium, which provides its own unique look. The dial with the frosted elements, the guilloche elements, and the brushed elements. There's actually quite a bit going on here, more so than you would normally associate with dress watches. So all in all, I think Baltic is delivering a very serious contender for people that are interested in acquiring something that is more in that dress watch vein without having to invest a lot of money. Now, unfortunately, given we're close to this sort of $1,000, 1,000 euro price point, it's not going to be in competition with, say, the Orient Bambino for being that truly affordable dress watch option. But a lot of people who don't wear dress watches very much are never going to want to spend the amount of money, even used, that a Chopard dress watch would probably run them. This will come in new a lot less than that. And so given that option, that's where I think it kind of slides in, as someone who really has around $1,000 and is thinking they very much want a dress watch, or like the idea of a dress watch but cannot stand to go with a more conservative typical dress watch format. And here you have either choice, really. You can go with something like that purple color or the green and be more on that extreme kind of fun Prismic. Again, they're all Prismic, but more fun Prismic style. Or you go the other route, get a blue-gray one, get the salmon one, and those are more traditional styles that you would expect out of dress watches. They're not the norm either, but we've seen other higher-end luxury brands actually play around with those color schemes in their dress watch line. Again, Chopard and last year's Lucent Steel salmon dial watch is very much a good example of that. So overall, I think these are pretty much a winner, but given the overall format of being that kind of dress watch aesthetic, I don't know if they're going to be the best sellers in the world. I don't know how well Baltic watches do in and of themselves anyway, and this is on the higher price point for a Baltic watch, but they look fun. So anyway, those are my first thoughts. I'd love to know yours. Please comment below with what you think about these Baltic Prismic watches. Which color is your particular favorite? I think a lot of people who like the more extreme push here are going to go for the purple. I would say probably the blue-gray for me was my favorite, which is why I've featured that imagery more than any other. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you want to be notified when I have new videos out, just click the subscribe button. I'll talk to you all on the next one.